We have Mr. Blumenthal, tremendous simcha. All chaverim v'yedidim Vidal, Rabbi Garfinkel Shlita, Rabbi Steinfeld, the Kol Chavera v'yedidai, those that are here and those that are here, those that are not here. Bichuk Mokum v'kirav alev. A Yid goes into this Shabbos with a tremendous avodah. Hachodesh hazel lochem roish chadosh. You know the Svarim talk about the mile of the Shabbos of Leib brings menucha v'simcha or la Yehudim. He says that refers to this Shabbos. Menucha, the Shabbos v'simcha. He says the kriya of Yom Tov, the kriya of Parshas HaChodesh and Or, the Shayach to the Chodesh. The Yid goes into the Shabbos with a tremendous avodah. Klal Yisrael is going into the Chodesh, Chodesh HaAviv, the Tata Chodesh, and everyone knows wherever a person is for Yom Tov that this is the Chodesh. The Chodesh of Yitzias Mitzrayim, the Chodesh of reflecting on who we are and being part of the Am Yisrael. The Chodesh, like everything in Yiddishkeit, takes avodah. So Chazal gave us a Shabbos HaChodesh, to start again, start fresh. It shouldn't be something, another Pesach. So to try to learn with Siyata D'Shmaya, one of the big questions is why is it called Shabbos HaChodesh? Why the Kriyas HaParsha is really the Parsha, really Machlokas Rishonim, why we're laying Parshas HaChodesh. One shot we're laying Parshas HaChodesh really has to do with Korban Pesach. To Moira, almost really the Kriya of Korban Pesach. As I state in Rashi, the Rav, the Miri, the Parshas Umuska Korban Pesach. So the Chayra, it really doesn't have to do with Chodesh, but we call it Parshas HaChodesh. The other pshat in the Rishonim is Zeichel Kiddush HaChodesh. That this is the Chodesh. HaChodesh Hazel Lachem Rosh Chadoshim is Kiddush HaChodesh. Is Zeichel Kiddush HaChodesh. We read this parsha, which also needs a beer. What's the Indian miyuchad, the zeichel, the Shabur brings? It's a zeichel, a kiddush hachodesh. But don't think that will actually be makadosh the chodesh with the kriya. The bezin is makadosh the chodesh. It's not the actual kriya. But the chayra, whatever it is, Chazal gave us a Shabbos parshas hachodesh. Is to learn in the hemshech. The last few weeks we're learning a little the hemshech. In the hemshech of the Daled parshas, everything in Yiddishkeit is a hachana. It started off with Parshas Shkolim, we went to Parshas Zocher, to Purim, Parshas Porah, Parshas HaChodesh, Shabbos HaGodel, and then we go into the Zman Abo Aleinu L'Toiva, to the Seder Abo Aleinu L'Toiva. So to learn a hemshech from Purim, going into Parshas Porah, going into Akdama to Parshas HaChodesh. One of the most, we've learned a few times, that the idea of reading the Megillah, Basi the Megillah Sefer Kosev Alai. We're not reading an old story, we're reading our story. So each one of us is writing a Megillah. Each one of us, our life, circumstances, the Eibish's Megalgal, is a Megillah. And one of the most chizukim, at least that I have when I read the Megillah, and something that, it's an eye-opener. So we know the story, that every part of the story wasn't Nisim, it all was Apiderech HaTeva, and Chazal teach us, we learned from the Megillah, how what seemed like Teva turns into a Nes. But we know that this unbelievable story, that Esther is with Beis HaMelech, and the dots, when you put the dots together, it seems to be very simple. And Mordechai comes to Esther, Klal Yisrael in the Greatest Sakana, and Mordechai says like this. Mordechai says, "Vayom Mordechai Hoshav Esther Amalka, Hoshav Esther, Al Tadami B'Nafshech Limolek B'Meis HaMelech." Now is the moment, the crunch time of the whole story. And Esther is very difficult to go into Beis HaMelech. She's being makriv. It's an unbelievable akrov. It's Mesiras Nefesh. Don't think Al Tadami B'Nafshech Limolek B'Meis HaMelech. Kol HaYudim. Kim Hachrish Tachrishi Beis HaZois. You should know, Klal Yisrael is the Ummah of Nitzchias. Klal Yisrael is the Ummah, the Eibishter brought Klal Yisrael from Yitzias Mitzrayim. Every Yid, Rav Shila Belzer says, when a Yid sits with his son by the Seder, he's telling him the historic story, starting off with Yitzias Mitzrayim, going to the Koshel Elyon, the Kosh of Mashiach. Zok Mordechai Tzadik to Esther, you should know, you have an option. You have two choices. You have a choice, you could go into Beis HaMelech, and you will become Esther Amalka, and every Yiddish Meidel will want to get dressed on Purim like Esther Amalka. You will be part of history. But, let's say you decide you don't want to do it. There'll be another story of Purim. There'll be a Megillah, but you're not going to be part of the Megillah. These psukim, this is our psukim. And the Eibishter talks to Klal Yisrael on the whole Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael came after the Groisa Milchama, where Rabbi Belzer said there was a Xeris Kloy. So each one of us, our grandparents, wherever they were, even the grandparents that were in America, they were part of the Gzeres Kloy. Because there were many millions of Yidden that came to America, and there's no Zecher to them. So every Yid that came to America, we can never judge, we can't even begin judging. It's a pila plan to me, the Yidden that got married in my Zayd and Baba, got married in the DP camp. Fascinating. Yid got married in the DP camp. You have no place, you have no one's accepting you. Unbelievable thing the Eibishter made. So each one of our grandparents had a choice. Klal Yisrael is going to be around. Klal Yisrael, there'll be Klal Yisrael is going to go weiter. There'll be yeshivas. The Panovich Rav said after the war, the Panovich Rav said, Torah Zayin, Geld Zayin. It's just our choice. Am I going to be part of it or not be part of it? So this is the collective Am Yisrael. And this is the Eibishter talking to every Yid. Every Yid, the Eibishter says, I'm sending you opportunities. You have opportunities. If you're going to do the opportunity, so this Yid comes collective. This Yid's going to get the money that was bashared from him from the Eibishter. He should get the money, whatever money he's supposed to get for his job. This bacher that's hitching that needs a ride, or this Yid that needs a chesed, or the Torah that has to be learned. Reb Chaim is avek from the Welt. All that Torah, Satan Swarm, some Seifer says, all that Torah is here. Somebody's going to get that Torah. Is it going to be me? Am I going to use my potential? That's my choice. So if you're going to do it, it's going to be done. If not, and this is each of our lives. Each of our lives. But there's a problem. And there's a Kotzka says a Shar for Loshen, there's an argument, Kaviyachol, between a person and the Eibishter. And this starts with Moshe Rabbeinu. The Eibishter tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Rav Afsal is here, they talk in front of Rav Afsal to Talmud Chacham. So the Eibishter comes to Moshe Rabbeinu, and the Eibishter tells Moshe Rabbeinu, I have a shlichus for you. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, I don't want the shlichus. Zok the Kotzka, this is each one of us. Every one of us has it worked out. I want to be a good to eat. I want to have a beautiful Seder this year. Rebbeinu Shalom, if I'd be able to be by this tzaddik Seder, and my children would be like the Korban Pesach, they would all sit by that show, like the imaginary stories about the Seder, and the Tati comes home, and all the kids sit by the Seder, and everything's so beautiful. Rebbeinu Shalom, I would run a beautiful Seder. It's just that punk this year I have to be by this one for Yom Tov. This one that's in this hotel, he wants to be in another hotel. This one that's by his shver wants to be by his at home, and this one wants to be here. So a Yid tells David Rebbeinu Shalom, I want to be an Erlich Yid. I want Torah v'Gdula b'Makam Echad. If I would have Torah v'Gdula b'Makam Echad, I would have a Kollel on the attic. There'd be a big Kollel in the basement. There'll be a Beis Achnosas Orchim, and I'll be learning a whole day and giving stock a whole day and saying Shiurim. But Rebbeinu Shalom, I should serve Hashem in the matzav that I'm in. I should be able to serve Hashem in this matzav, this day, this Shabbos. Rebbeinu Shalom, it's very hard to me. Zok the Kotzke, this is the argument that Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Eibishter, Rebbeinu Shalom, I don't want the shlichus. Zok the Eibishter came in Amayim Mishisiu. I picked you. I chose you for this shlichus, and this is a fascinating thought. When we're going to sit with our children, Belel Seder, you know what we're trying to tell our children? We're trying to tell them, punct the way the Eibishter made you. I don't want you to be the Bocher in Patterson. I don't want the one from Patterson to want to be like the Bocher in Fallsburg. I don't want you to be the one who's able to learn. I don't want him to be like the one who's able to be a Baal Chesed. And the one that's able to be a Baal Chesed, I don't want him to be like the one who's able to be a big Masmid. I want each of you to use your koiches. Because the Eibishter made each one of us. Every one of us has a shlichus. And the Eibishter is calling to us. If you're going to do your shlichus, if you're going to do your shlichus in this Gilgul, then you're going to do it. If you're not going to do it in this Gilgul, Hashem says, I'm going to have to send you back down. You have to do your shlichus in a different Gilgul. On Klal Yisrael, the Eibishter says there's a shlichus. And each one of us is trying to be ma'ir ourselves, Belel Pesach. And we're trying to be ma'ir our children to do their shlichus. After that comes Parshas Parah. Parshas Parah is the Parsha. I'm just going to say a word. I'm all from Sadiqim, but they said, Be'ez, the Satmarov said this when he was shikr. It's a taich, but the idea was bringing out, Adla Yoda ben Arham and the Baruch Mordcha. Satmarov said that when a person gets a little shikr, his reality changes. All of a sudden he sees that tzaddik. I didn't realize what the tzaddik was. I didn't realize the godless of the tzaddik. I didn't realize Bos Baruch Mordcha is. With the whole, all the spadim that was said about Reb Chaim, and this is, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, we don't understand the Mashu Sheba Mashu, what Reb Chaim was about. What's a Yid that learns Kol HaTorah Kula? What's a Yid that every word that he says is Dvar Hashem, What's the Azaz Sortit? We have no way of understanding one day in the life of Rav Chaim. We don't realize what the Rasha is. We don't realize the rishis of the Rasha, especially an Erlechi doesn't realize the rishis. Dr. Satmarov, Tachlis ha'adam leida shaloi neida. To realize when a person gets shikar, he sees his own life circumstances in a different light, in a different eye. Rav Nachman says a scary thing. Rav Nachman says that the first tzar a person has when he leaves this world is all of a sudden, his whole way he perceived his life all of a sudden changes. And all his daigas and his worries and things that he wanted the Eibishter to change, all of a sudden he sees, oh, the Banishlam, you made it perfect. Is the Tachlos from Pashas Para is the Choik. To realize our avodas Hashem, we have no idea. Why did the Eibishter pick this person should have this life circumstance? This one has that life circumstance. Das is alts from the avodah from the Eibishter. The Chavetz Chaim was once got up in Radin. It was not so often that he came into the yeshiva. He gave a clap on the bima. There's a town, it was before Yom Kippur. He said there was a town a little away from here that they don't have a mikveh. And I want a bocha to go. A bocha should go to the town to ma'or the to make a mikveh. A few minutes later, a bocha comes over and he comes to talk and learning the Chavetz Chaim. He asks him a shayla on the Tosfos. And the Chavetz Chaim answers him. Chavetz Chaim asks him, "Has gehört, was mit gerät?" So the bocha said, I don't want to go away from the yeshiva. I don't want to go away. Like we'd all say, I don't want to go away from the yeshiva for Yom Kippur. The Chavetz Chaim, the way I heard over the story, he said, what's a dain toisus? The Chavetz Chaim understood there's a special shlichus now. Oh, but the person didn't want to do the shlichus. Every one of us has a shlichus. Every one of us has an avodas Hashem. Every one of our children, the Eibishter doesn't. There's a reason why this one fits into the yeshiva, this one doesn't fit into the yeshiva. Each one of us has our own tachlis and tafkid. To realize my life circumstances this Shabbos is tailor-made from the Eibishter. And my avoid is to serve Hashem in this matzah. One of the yisoidis, sometimes we don't understand. If you look at the Chassidish Maises about the Seder, a lot of the stories were about the Yid who came to the Seder and nothing worked out. The wine spilled on the table and the tzaddik didn't get angry. And all his matzahs fell apart and didn't get angry. Well, the stories were teaching us a lesson. Avodas Hashem is kefi this matzah. Oh, the Rav is back. We missed the Rav a whole week. The Eibishter should bench the Rav Shlita. The chesed in the shul goes on when the Rav is not here, he's busy. The Eibishter should bench each one of us. When we start off, this year Pesach is something new that never was. Our life circumstances keeps on changing. The Eibishter gives us life circumstances to be over the Eibishter in this matzav via sizzle. The Eibishter uns benching is all zoiche sein. So have ma chodesh from the schatches. This Shabbos, each one of us has a tremendous avodah to start again this man. This man should be a schatches. It should every day has its own avodas Hashem that only can be done in this man. The Eibishter should bench us. We should be zoiche. The Svarim talk about opening the 3 Sifrei Torah to ask the Eibishter, help us. A person can't be Mekayim v'Galut Levincha if someone's not really anticipating the Seder or anticipating this man. He can't be Mechanech his children to have a moon and betochen in this man. The Eibishter should bench us to beg the Eibishter we should be zoiche to have a schatches to realize our life circumstances. If we Mekayim our tafkid now, we're going to Mekayim. If not, will have someone else. The Eibishter will send someone else. Each of us to Mekayim, all the avodah that has to be done. The Eibishter will help him. The Shabbos will sein a Shabbos from Aliyah, a Shabbos from Simcha, a Shabbos of coming closer to the Eibishter, a Shabbos of v'tahar libenu, L'Avdcha, באמת.